Coming up on Valley View News, gas prices are going up. Folks are unhappy.
It's really affecting my wallet.
Plus, some middle school and high school students might be able to sleep in. A new law means starting school later. And President Trump was in New York for the United Nations General Assembly meeting. He wants more time and money devoted to religious freedoms around the world.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Timothy Tien.
And I'm Lisa Rodriguez.
LA gas prices rose for 6 straight days. The average price for the entire county is now $3.79 a gallon. Some Angelenos are not happy about that, and others haven't even noticed.
It's really affecting my wallet. The more and more we're seeing more and more taxes going up. Now with the gas, we don't know how much it's going to go up. But at the same time, in my current position, I'm on the road all the time, so this matters.
I don't really notice it. I have a Vons Club card where I get gas points, and I have 6 kids, so I'm in the grocery store so much. I get 20 cents a gallon anyways.
In the past 6 days, gas has risen 12.3 cents. In the past year, it's gone up 40 cents.
High school and middle school students in California may get to sleep in a little more. Valley View News' Veronica Mireles reports on how a new state law may allow them to report to school later.
It's 6:45 a.m. and these Glendale High School students are ready for practice, but a proposed California bill could change that. Amy Rangel, music director at GHS, says she believes her classes would be impacted, but the school could work around it.
If the law allows for there to be some leeway, then I think they'll try to accommodate the students and the classes, but that may not be an option for them, and I think we'll just make it work.
The proposed bill says high school classes can't start before 8:30 a.m. Supporters say it would help students get more sleep. Anaya Casillas, a student at GHS, says she would enjoy the time change, but thinks it would negatively affect other students and parents.
You have to adjust everything from outside of the school district to inside the school district. So it's going to affect not just the kids, it's going to affect everyone in general.
Opponents say the change would hurt extracurricular activities. They believe school time should be decided by the districts instead. California lawmakers recently passed the bill. It now goes to Governor Newsom for final approval. If Governor Newsom does sign the bill, the new law would go into effect in the 2022 school year. In Glendale, California, for Valley View News, I'm Veronica Mireles.
Students from Lincoln High School in San Diego were the target of racial slurs during a football game against rival San Clemente High. Investigation by San Clemente High confirmed the incident took place. San Clemente's principal sent a letter to the community saying the school regrets any pain caused by its students. However, no disciplinary actions were taken against the students.
An Alabama high school is under scrutiny for having the term MAGA on its scoreboard. A local business called Veep added MAGA and Go Trump on their scoreboard advertising space. The school is in Limestone, Alabama. Veep's owner, Skip Van Pamel, says the sign is meant to support the president.
There was nothing but nonsense and people out there decrying his election, not my president, wah, wah, wah. So I thought that a show of support for the president was what was needed.
School district policy says no political signs can be on school property. The Limestone County School Board says the sign is acceptable and it will remain. Some believe all political signs should remain out of schools. Van Pamel says there are no hidden agendas behind the sign. In North Carolina, a high school football game was canceled after cheerleaders posed with a Trump sign before the game.
A man is dead after an armed robbery at a Tarzana Airbnb Saturday night. Police say 3 male suspects approached a group of friends outside a Sugarman Street home. The suspects took the victim's belongings, they shot him, and fled the scene.
2 Maryland teens were charged with killing a man at the Great Frederick Fair. Police say the victim was found Friday. He was flown to a trauma center in Baltimore where he died. Witnesses say the attack was unprovoked. 1 teen was charged with reckless endangerment, first-degree assault, and second-degree assault. The other teen was charged with second-degree assault. Officials say they both may face additional charges.
A fight broke out at a Foot Locker store in the Fox Hills Mall in Culver City Saturday. It involved 2 people. Someone that was with the group of bystanders also broke the store's window. The breaking glass made people think gunshots were fired. Panicked shoppers stampeded to the exits. No injuries were reported.
An off-duty Alhambra police officer shot and wounded himself early Sunday morning. San Marino police say it happened during a road rage incident. The off-duty officer was in a blue Subaru, apparently driving erratically. The other driver involved attempted to get his attention. At that point, the shooting occurred. The off-duty officer is being treated for a self-inflicted injury. It's not considered life-threatening.
Some CSUN students are concerned about being assaulted when they're in the campus area. This is mainly because of recent attacks. Valley View News reporter Itayatsi Angeles has more on the story.
In the past month, 2 sexual assaults have been reported to campus police. Many students say they come to school to learn, not to be attacked. CSUN student Amanda Obregon says she fears for her safety.
It's barely the beginning of the semester, and there's already been like emails constantly going that there's sexual assaults, and honestly I feel pretty unsafe.
Like Obregon, Joanna Rodriguez also fears being attacked, so she tries to stay prepared at all times. Rodriguez also thinks the campus needs more security, especially at night when some students are walking alone to their cars or home.
Recently, I've been walking with my keys, hand or clenched in between, just in case if something attacks me or something, because we're students, we shouldn't be living in fear.
The campus may increase security. Still, students need to make efforts on their own to stop sexual assaults. Cassandra Santon says CSUN needs to provide sexual misconduct courses.
There should be a mandatory thing, like a class or so that we have to take like every semester or every year, or I don't know, just we have to go to teach each other what sexual assault is.
Students are concerned, and CSUN professor Catherine Loren says the campus could provide students with more preventative sexual assault education.
I do think that we need to take a more active approach in how we educate students. So have maybe a class or a seminar or something that students can go to where they can actively engage in the content.
CSUN's Criminology and Justice Studies professor Lorenz says sexual assault is very common on college campuses. She says action needs to be taken. In Northridge, I'm Itayatsi Angeles for Valley View News.
President Trump admitted that a July phone call with the Ukrainian president did include talk about Joe Biden. Trump said he brought up the former vice president's son in the call as an example of corruption in Ukraine. A recent White House whistleblower complaint brought the existence of the Trump call to the public.
Everybody knows it. It's just a Democrat witch hunt. Here we go again. They failed with Russia. They failed with recession. They failed with everything. And now they're bringing this up. The one who's got the problem is Biden.
Some House Democrats think the president used his office for political gain.
President Donald Trump announced a religious freedom initiative during his United Nations General Assembly speech in New York. Trump wants to give $25 million to protect religious freedoms. Trump wants other nations to address religious prosecution by stopping religious crimes and protecting those at risk. Trump's idea was criticized by a group called Interfaith Alliance, which celebrates religious freedoms. The group's leader says Trump should start with his own policies before promoting religious freedom worldwide.
Climate change activists blocked Washington's busiest intersection this week. The shutdown DC protest consisted of at least 20 different groups. They clogged major roads used by commuters. At least 26 people were arrested.
A tropical storm warning has been issued for the storm Karen. It's headed towards the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. The National Hurricane Center says the storm might bring enough rain to cause flash flooding and mudslides. Karen is expected to pass through the islands and then die off in the Atlantic.
The Walk to End Alzheimer's is this weekend. It's meant to raise awareness about the disease. Also, it raises money for Alzheimer research. The local goal is $46,000. $44,000 has been raised so far. The Alzheimer Walk takes place in more than 600 communities nationwide.
Anna, how about an update on those Emmys?
Timothy, it was full of surprises. The 71st Emmy Awards was an epic battle this year. Actress Phoebe Waller-Bridge won Emmy for writing and then another for lead comedy actress. First-time Emmy winners also included Julia Garner, Jason Bateman for directing, and Jodie Comer for Best Actress in Drama. It was definitely a night they will never forget. On the other hand, Game of Thrones had a record of 32 nominations. It also won the Emmy for Best Drama. It was nominated alongside Bodyguard, Killing Eve, and This Is Us. Game of Thrones is now tied with shows like Hill Street Blues and Mad Men for most wins in the Best Drama category. The show ran for 10 years. Another big moment was when actress Patricia Arquette gave her Best Supporting Actress speech. She advocated for transgender rights. She wished her sister Alexis was there celebrating with her. Alexis was an actress and a transgender activist who died in 2016. Arquette says she's disappointed that transgender people are still being persecuted. And Star Trek's Aaron Eisenberg died Saturday. He was 50 years old. The cause of death hasn't been released. His wife, Melissa Longo, gave the sad news on a Facebook post with a picture collage of the two. She described Eisenberg as an intelligent, humble, and funny soul. And songwriter Bruce Springsteen is turning 70. He's best known for portraying the experiences and struggles of Army veterans and working-class Americans. Springsteen is one of the best-selling artists in the world. He released his 90th studio album this year. Queer Eye actor Jonathan Van Ness revealed he's HIV positive. In a preview with the New York Times for his book, Over the Top, he shared some of his life struggles. He said he struggled with sex and drug addiction. Ness also opens up about his experiences with sexual assault as a child. He says his sexual assault trauma and drug addiction led him towards having sex for money. And if you can't let go of the first Frozen movie, that's not a problem. Disney released a second trailer for Frozen 2. This time around, the movie brings more adventures and fights. Anna, Queen Elsa, Kristoff, and Olaf come together to discover the origin of Elsa's powers. Frozen 2 comes to theaters November 22nd. That's all for your entertainment news. I'm Ana Ramos. Let's go back to you, Timothy.
More to come on Valley View News. A school in Kenya collapsed while class was still in session.
And studies show tap water can lead to cancer.
You made her college years possible, opening that education savings account when she was little, spearheading campus tours, and deciphering financial aid. If you can ace planning for college, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
For a look into this week's headlines, here's Sundial's Andrea Esparza.
Thank you. The Sundial's current issue focuses on gun violence. Professors talk about whether or not how they feel about gun violence on campus. And the Latino community declares that they feel targeted by the rise in gun violence. The Sundial's next issue comes out this Wednesday and focuses on the education system in the United States. Don't forget to pick up our new issue this Wednesday and to check out our social media and our online website for new and updated content. Thank you. Back to you.
And now joining us from the Digital Media Center with international news is Alan Cardoza. Alan?
The protests in Hong Kong are getting a lot more violent. Protesters targeted subway stations and shopping malls. They were seen throwing petrol bombs, setting fires, and even attacking bystanders. Police responded with tear gas and rubber bullets. Next week marks the 70th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. So Hong Kong authorities are under pressure to make sure the celebration's peaceful. Hundreds of people in the Rio de Janeiro are protesting the alleged police shooting death of an 8-year-old girl. A picture of Agatha Felix spread online after she was shot in the back in a Rio favela Friday night. Residents think the bullet that killed her was from a police officer's rifle. Demonstrators marched through the Complejo de Alemão favela demanding justice for the victim. Protesters also blame Rio Governor Wilson Witzel's shoot-to-kill policy. Hundreds of people held a funeral for a disappearing Swiss glacier. The Paisol Glacier in the Glarus Alps has lost 80 to 90% of its volume since 2006. Around 250 people gathered during the weekend to hike up the glacier and commemorated the retreating ice. The glacier will be the first to be taken off the Swiss Glacier Surveillance Network. A former Syrian refugee is working to help refugees who are stranded on 2 islands. Hassan Alcantar once had to live in the Kuala Lumpur airport for 7 months until his visa expired. He now lives and works in Canada after being sponsored by a human rights organization. Alcantar also works with a group called Operation Not Forgotten. They are seeking to sponsor about 200 refugees stranded on Nauru Island and Papua New Guinea.
The story goes back to the time I was at the airport. During that time, I received some messages from people who has been detained in Manus and Nauru Islands. They asked me to tell their stories.
The organization seeks to raise $3 million. In Nairobi, Kenya, a school building made of corrugated metal and wood collapsed. 7 children were killed. Dozens more were injured. More than 60 children were transported to the hospital. The school is called the Precious Talent Academy. The collapse left residents upset. They think the school should have used better construction materials. The school will stay closed a week as the investigation continues. That's all of the international news. Now back to you in the studio.
Specializing in a single sport or many sports may not always give an athlete a greater chance of becoming elite. Valley View News reporter Rudy Aguado has perspective.
Athletes dedicate most of their time to their sport. Some athletes play multiple sports throughout the year, while others take a break during the off-season. Many ask if it's preferable for an athlete to play more than one sport. CSUN kinesiology professor Shane Stesick says specializing in a single sport has negative aspects.
There is a high dropout rate and a high injury rate of athletes who specialize early on.
Specializing could cause a burnout, resulting in an athlete giving up on the sport. Single sport athletes do give the benefit of perfecting skills, plus the potential to boost confidence in their abilities.
The problem with that is, again, over time, you're taxing the body and areas of the body in the same way or similar way, and there is no rest or recovery built in.
Multi-sports give the benefit of discovering other competition, build long-term success, and develop better performance that complement other sports. CSUN baseball catcher Sean SKELLY says it's preferable to play more than one sport.
You get to develop your body differently doing some other things. Like if you're playing basketball or football, you might be faster, stronger. If you're playing football, learn to lift differently.
Whether an athlete decides to specialize in one sport or multiple sports, there's no right or wrong way to being an athlete. Reporting from Northridge, I'm Rudy Aguado for Valley View News.
CSUN is now one of 10 institutions to have an important certification that will help student athletes with academics. Valley View News reporter Scott Gierman has more on the story.
A new program at Cal State University Northridge will now offer improved academic support services to student athletes. A new certification from the College Reading and Learning Association is the reason. CSUN's Tiana Jones says the help has been a welcomed addition.
Our student athletes are feeling comfortable and confident with the program, and they're also learning a lot quicker. So the transition period in the beginning has been the biggest change.
Only 9 other college programs nationwide have received this honor. Also, the certification will prove to be an academic boost to student athletes. Jones says the Matador Achievement Center is also there for additional support.
The biggest thing is getting to know the students individually. So there's not really a cookie cutter blanket answer, but it's really getting to know that individual student and what they need, what their goals are, and then helping them push to the next level.
The certification, or CRLA, will train graduate students how to teach student athletes better so national academic standards can be met. Instructors will be equipped to teach student athletes how to also balance academics with sports, while also teaching important life skills. CSUN student athlete GRIFFIN ZAMORA says he has the tools to be successful.
Well, they have tutors in the MAC Center, they have tutors in the library, they have a bunch of extra help that you can go to, so that helps a lot knowing that you don't have a lot of time.
The goal of the program is to help student athletes reach their fullest potential on and off the field, and CSUN officials say it'll do just that. For Valley View News, I'm Scott Gierman.
A new report from the Environmental Working Group found 22 carcinogens in the nation's tap water. They include arsenic, uranium, and radium. The watchdog group says there may be health risks from cancer-causing products. They found that most tap water still meets the legal standards put in place by the federal government.
I get my water from home in my fridge. Sometimes on campus, I'll go to the water fountains. I don't necessarily drink tap water. but I wouldn't be afraid to drink from it.
I mostly get my water from the fridge, and sometimes I buy water off of campus or outside. Knowing that the tap water might give you cancer, it kind of concerns me, so I might try and change.
Some CSUN students say they do what they can to find alternatives to tap water.
A gas plant in the San Fernando Valley could be affecting the community. Valley View News reporter Carissa Preciado has more on the story.
It's a problem you can't see, but you can feel.
All those toxins over the course of time, it's created a health impact.
The Sun Valley Power Plant was built in 1953. It's one of 4 that exist in Los Angeles County. The Los Angeles Times states it's one of the oldest and least efficient power generators.
We have to spearhead any campaign that we have.
A youth group that focuses on environmental topics is attempting to shut it down. They want to replace it with a renewable energy plant.
I think it's important for us to speak up about things that other people are scared to, such as the Sun Valley Power Plant and how that's promoting natural gas, but in reality it's not. It's not renewable gas.
The plant releases the residues of fossil fuels. Residents think their health is affected by the output of the plant. Gerson Espinoza is with Youth United Towards Environmental Protection. He says there are more people with asthma in his community compared to wealthier neighborhoods.
I see everyone around my school always having to carry an inhaler because of fear of having an asthma attack.
Maria Hernandez has been part of this group for more than a year. She says it's time for the demands of young people to be taken into consideration.
You won't see a Valley gas plant in these affluent communities because you know that these people have the money to tell them, hey, like, shut this down. We don't have that, you know? We aren't given that opportunity.
The Valley gas plant is just 3.2 miles away from where most of these students live. The exposure of these harmful chemicals is something they hope to change. In Sun Valley for Valley View News, I'm Carissa Preciado.
Some Massachusetts towns are experiencing a rare viral outbreak. Eastern equine encephalitis killed a second person last week. This is the 10th report case of the so-called triple E virus in Massachusetts this year. State health official Catherine Brown says a massive mosquito population is to blame.
When one of those new variants is introduced into the state, that tends to trigger one of our outbreak cycles.
Several communities shut down their parks from dusk till dawn to prevent outbreaks.
Coming up on Valley View News, airline Thomas Cook collapses, leaving thousands of travelers stranded.
Also, AT&T is planning to sell DirecTV. Stay with us.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
The First Lady is in New York, and an English soccer player finds himself in a sticky situation on Twitter.
Here's Valley View's Luis Zuniga with these stories and more. Luis?
Thank you, Luisa. Melania Trump rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange Monday morning. Students from the United Nations International School joined her. It was a part of her Be Best platform. Be Best focuses on the youth's well-being, online safety, and opioid abuse. Manchester City Bernardo Silva was reported to the English Football Association for an alleged racist tweet. The tweet showed teammate Benjamin Mendy as a child next to the mascot for a Spanish chocolate brand. Bernardo deleted the tweet after getting criticized. Then he posted another tweet with the quote, "Can't even joke with a friend these days." Bernardo could face a fine or a ban for the tweet. Thomas Cook, the world's oldest travel company, has collapsed. The sudden collapse left 500,000 European passengers stranded. 20,000 jobs are at risk. All future flights are canceled. This forced the British government to book return flights for 150,000 British customers. Some customers say they're glad they didn't travel this week.
For some people who lost their job, there's people stuck abroad. To a certain degree,
I'm glad we didn't fly today because we could get stuck somewhere.
The announcement follows a year of heavy financial losses for the company. Customers will get refunds based on travel insurance plans, but aren't sure when they'll get their money back. Disney's streaming service, Disney Plus, launches in November. It's now available for pre-order. Disney offers a monthly package for $6.99 and a yearly plan for $69.99. They also have a $12.99 one-month package that includes Hulu and ESPN. That won't be ready until November. Disney expects to have 60 to 90 million global subscribers by 2025. Samsung's Galaxy Fold goes on sale Friday. The smartphone was supposed to launch last spring, but Samsung decided not to release it after reviewers reported how easily the device broke. The company tweaked the design and strengthened the hinge area. The Galaxy Fold will cost nearly $2,000. Nintendo officially launched the Nintendo Switch Lite. The new gaming device is a smaller version of the original Nintendo Switch. It features integrated controls and a lightweight design. It'll only support games in the handheld mode. The Switch Lite comes in 3 colors, yellow, gray, or turquoise. Nintendo says the new design is a cheaper alternative for gamers. The Nintendo Switch Lite retails at around $200. More than 1,000 Amazon employees walked out in protest Friday. The walkout was organized by a group called the Amazon Employees for Criminal Justice. Amazon wants to commit to zero emissions also. By 2030, it wants to test electrical vehicles in communities most impacted by pollution. The group encouraged Amazon to commit to zero emissions and quit donating to politicians. Earlier this year, more than 70,000 workers signed a letter asking Amazon how it planned to respond to climate change. AT&T is planning to sell DirecTV. The report comes because the provider continues to lose subscribers to streaming services. AT&T hasn't commented on whether it's actually selling, but the Wall Street Journal reports the company is exploring combining DirecTV with Dish Network, though a deal would be unlikely due to the regulatory environment. DirecTV was purchased by AT&T for $49 billion in 2015. General Motors is expanding its recall of the Chevy Trax SUV to more than 100,000 vehicles. GM's initial recall featured both the 2017 and 2019 model. However, the recall now also includes the 2015 and 2016 models. GM says the suspension wheel can lead to steering problems resulting in an accident. Inspections will be free, with dealerships determining if a replacement's needed. Get ready for the Black Friday of home buying. Experts say early fall is the best time to buy a house. Realtor.com says buyers face less competition and homes on the market are usually reduced in price. Not as many homes are sold in September, which is why prices are reduced. In Seattle, prices are reduced by more than 41%, making it the most ideal place for home buying. That's all for social media and tech news. Timothy, back to you.
Welcome to the fall equinox, our second equinox of 2019. This means there's an equal split of daytime and nighttime between both hemispheres. If you're north of the equator, this signals the coming of fall, even though we're still experiencing 100-degree heat in Los Angeles. Since June, days have been getting shorter and nights have been getting longer. That's all for us at Valley View News. Thank you for watching. I'm Timothy Tien.
And I'm Luisa Rodriguez. For news any time of the day, go to our website, sundial.csun.edu. See you next week.